welcome to another episode of Explore Maple Grove. My name is Shari McGuire, and I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Classic Realty Northwest. Today, I'm here with Scott Henstein, owner of Scott Henstein Insurance Agency. He says he has 5 grandkids, and they have him completely wrapped around their little fingers. They range in age from really little to 7 years old. Grandpa won't say no to anything, apparently. And if we talk about his grandkids in the interview, he says that will be the whole interview. So you can set up coffee to talk with him about that later and share your grandpa and grandma stories. But thank you for joining me, Scott.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's start with you telling us about your business.
Well, I like to say that I help my clients protect their assets. So in case they have a bad day, it doesn't turn into a bad life. Mm-hmm. And what that means is I use insurance products to help protect people's assets, but help them protect themselves and their assets. Mm-hmm. And quite simply, an insurance product is just a transfer of risk. So to give you an example, if I were a client and I were in an automobile accident and it was my fault and there was some injuries involved and I didn't have insurance, mm-hmm. I would be responsible for those injuries and to pay for those injuries. Now, how would I pay for them? I would either pay for them through my savings, my checking, my investments. I might have to sell my car, my home, some of my property. So what insurance does is it transfers that risk from a client to an insurance company. So the insurance company now pays that instead of a client having to pay out of their own pocket. Mm-hmm. So that's what I try to help my clients do, is mitigate that risk, to make sure that that risk is as minimal as possible to them. And I do that by sitting down with them, talking to them. What are their assets? What do they want protected? Who's in their family? How can we protect them? And then I come up with a plan and then present that to the client, and then they approve or disapprove. But I would say probably 99% of the time, they say this is a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, that people don't realize how quickly your life can change if you aren't properly insured. I'm reminded of like 20 years ago when that big tornado went through Gustavus, and I went to Gustavus, so went through St. Peter, and the hardware store guy, his insurance had like run out like the day before, and he hadn't renewed it, and that was it. That was his business. He couldn't recover from that unless maybe he found another way around it. But that's the kind of thing that can happen to you. You don't know when it's going to come.
Absolutely, and that's what we try to prevent. Mm-hmm. And so
that's great.
Like I said, we help our clients protect their assets. So in case they have a bad day, maybe it's that car accident, maybe it's that tornado that comes through. It's a bad day. Now that could turn into a bad life, like that hardware store owner, mm-hmm. Where they were ruined. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They can't recover from that. Yeah. That's what I want to be able to protect, is so that doesn't happen to them. It doesn't turn into that bad life.
Right. For sure. Well, that's awesome. So what led you to opening your business?
Well, that's a little bit longer story. I had been in and around the insurance industry for decades, and I decided to step out of it and start a nonprofit to help homeless men and women get off the streets and to reclaim their lives again. And I was in that for about 12, 14 years. And we helped a number of men and women get off the streets and reclaim their lives. And in that, one of the stories or reoccurring themes that came up was there was one event or one bad decision, whatever it was, that caused the snowball to start rolling down that hill and getting bigger and bigger and bigger until finally they couldn't stop it. And that's what caused them to become homeless. Mm-hmm. And so when it was time to transition out of the nonprofit, I was looking for another career to go into.
Mhm.
And I looked into insurance and an insurance agency and how I could specifically help people prevent that one type event or one type of bad decision that would cause that snowball to, and insurance kept coming up as the avenue to do that. And so I bought my own agency and put my shingle out and haven't looked back since.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that story. Another time we'll have to talk more about that nonprofit. I'm very curious about that. I've done work with homeless, and I absolutely have heard those stories of how that one decision can just turn into a disaster.
Right.
And they're perfectly capable human beings.
Absolutely.
They just had a run of bad luck.
Just had a run of bad luck. And yeah, I mean, we were dealing with people that had better educations than I did. I mean,
I believe it.
I dealt with somebody that had 2 doctorate degrees.
Wow. Yeah.
And just ran into some bad luck, bad decision, bad timing, whatever it was. And it's kind of like the domino effect. You're stacking up dominoes and you accidentally hit one and it causes all the other dominoes to fall.
Right.
I look at it as insurance. Well, I can take my hand and put it in between those dominoes and it stops that progression of all those other dominoes falling. Yeah,
that's awesome. Love it. So what would your clients say they love most about you and your business?
I would have to say, that's a hard question, but I would have to say it's that I care about them. I really, if something happens to them, I really do not want them to have that bad life. And I will go to bat for them. I will do whatever it takes. I'm their advocate when it comes to insurance. And they know that I've got a retention rate of about 98%.
That's awesome.
And so I would say that was one of the things that if you asked all of them, that would be a high indicator of why they like and stay with me.
Oh, that's great. I can absolutely tell that you have a heart for people, and you are totally on the client side when things happen, of wanting them to be protected and recover from anything that could go wrong that your insurance would cover.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Those are the kind of insurance people we need, because there's a lot of stories of not so good ones, and it's great to find people like yourself, and I love that. So what are your business goals over the next year?
Well, what I would like to do is I'd like to hire 2 new salespeople, and so grow the business probably by 1,000 policies next year.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that goal. And so I guess if anyone's looking for a job in insurance, you could give Scott a call sometime and see if that's a good fit for you. So who do you love most? What do you love most about living in the Twin Cities?
Well, I guess what's not to love? Great history. There's thousands of businesses. Great place to raise your kids. I raised 3 kids, and I've got 5 grandkids that are now being raised in the Twin Cities area. A lot of community events. There's lakes all over the place. There's regional parks. There, so many things to do. You don't have to travel. There's just so many activities for families, for kids, for adults. There's restaurants. You've got restaurants that are the typical franchise restaurants, all the way to the unique. I don't know if you'd call them boutique restaurants or what, but yeah, you've got all of that. You've got fast food all the way to upscale. Anything that you want, any type of cuisine, anything. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun to be in the Twin Cities area right now.
Most definitely. And that's one of the things I'm wanting to do with Explore Maple Grove is highlight all these amazing local people that we have who are running businesses, and even just people in general too. But and even with a big name like the insurance agency that you're working with farmers, it's a big name, but it's still a local person this is your livelihood, making a business. And people forget that behind that big name is a local family who's just trying to feed their family and keep shelter for them and things like that. And so, so I think that's a great thing to like about the Twin Cities for sure.
And I, like you, like to help small businesses as well. And I have a newsletter that I send out, and I feature a small business every newsletter, and encourage my clients to patronize those businesses.
That's awesome. I love that. What a great idea. Well, it's been such a pleasure talking with you today, Scott. I really appreciate your time. And thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Shari McGuire with Keller Williams Classic Realty Northwest. And be sure to check out our local community website at exploremaplegrove.life. And if you have a business and want to be featured, reach out to me today through the website. It's over on the right. There's a button you can click. Take care and stay well.